Hey everyone, how's it going? Forrest here, again with another installment of my complete analysis of all of Bach's chorale harmonizations. Today we're looking at Wach auf mein Herz und singe, which translates to Awake my heart and sing. Very short chorale today. Not too many interesting tidbits comparatively to some of the other chorales. It's fairly straightforward, fairly short. We're going to breeze right through this. So 2 flats in the key signature. We start on B flat. We end on B flat. I reckon we're in the key of B flat. We then go to G, D, G, and B flat, which is G minor. That is our 6th chord. And then we have D, D, F, and A. That's D minor in root position, which is our 3 chord. Starting things off with an interesting progression. We have 3 chords that are similar to the tonic triad in the sense that they're both a third away from the tonic, so we're not really introducing a lot of new tones. We have a lot of B flat going on, and we're sort of rotating around this idea of D and F. So B flat has D and F in it, D minor has D and F in it, and then B flat also has B flat and D, which is what G minor has. So it's an interesting progression. It's also transitive. 3 wants to go to 6, typically speaking, but here we have 6 going to 3. Passing 7th here in the tenor before we get E, B flat, or sorry, E flat, B flat, E flat, and G, which is E flat major. 3 going to 4 is a relatively common progression. And given the harmonic, or sorry, not the harmonic, the rhythmic scheme in the bass here, I feel like these are not necessarily non-chord tones, but these are, I guess they are non-chord tones. I feel like this is a chord that's being introduced off the implied harmonic rhythm. Chorales that are in 3/4 are definitely interesting in terms of, you know, what's harmonic rhythm and what isn't. Sometimes we get it on every beat, other times we get it on beat 1 and beat 3, sometimes we get it on beat 1 and beat 2, so I think we just have to use context to decide whether or not a chord is on the harmonic rhythm. In this case, based on what's been set up before, I feel like this chord is not on the harmonic rhythm. Instead, we have E flat, C, F, and A. That is F7 over E flat, which is 5/4-2, our dominant and 3rd inversion, and that goes where we would expect. D, B flat, F, and B flat major over D. We then have E, B flat, G, and C, which is C minor 7 over E flat, 2/6/5, and then we have F, B flat, F, and C. We know that C major is being, or sorry, C major, F major is being implied here, but this B flat is a 4/3 suspension over the bass. F is our 5 chord in the key of B flat. This is a perfect authentic cadence in the key of B flat major, B flat, D, F, and B flat, our tonic triad. Looking ahead, we have a half cadence, or at least what I'm hearing as a half cadence. There might be an argument to be made here that we have moved to the key of F major because of the E natural really early on, but I feel like this is functioning like a secondary dominant just based on what I'm hearing. We have another B flat major chord here, B flat, D, F, and B flat, no need to reanalyze. Then we have another B flat major chord, but this time it's over D, 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 F, and B flat, so we'll change the figure bass to reflect 1st inversion. We then have E, C, G, and C. This is C major over E, which is 5/6 of 5, because C is the dominant of F, and F is our 5. And I'm trying to get in the habit of writing secondary dominants fractionally, like a vertical fraction. I know that you can write them alongside one another as well. That's typically how I do it in my own analysis historically, but for chorales that I don't have the luxury of all of this real estate on the page for, writing it this way allows me to not dip into the space that I would otherwise use, and tends for me to keep things more honest vertically, so I'm trying to use this format because I think it also articulates it. Of course, if there is a secondary analysis, it does bring everything down another tier if I need to write anything in parentheses, but I think that's a small price to pay for the sake of just keeping everything clear. We then have F, C, F, and A. That is our 5 chord, F major. Resolution is expected. And then following the same general framework as the first phrase, we're getting a passing, not really a passing chord, but passing tones happening on beat 2. Doesn't really spell out a chord anyways. We have G, C, F, and G. It's like a sus4 chord, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, it would be like a C sus4, like a G7, yeah, it would be like a G7 with a sus, or a C sus4 without the 7. So after our passing chord, we have A, C, F, and A. That's F major over A, which is similar to what was happening here. We're just changing the figured bass. And then afterwards, we have G, D, F, and B flat, which is G minor 7 in root position. That would be our 6-7 chord. And then I think in a similar fashion to our first phrase, we get a chord introduced on beat 2, G, C, E, and B flat, which is C7 over G, 5, 4, 3 of 5. And then the notes that get introduced here are not necessarily passing tones or non-chord tones, because this E is a chord tone, this D is a non-chord tone, this B flat is a 7th. I guess we could, no, that B is also a chord tone, so we don't need to affect our analysis with it. We then go in cadence on 5. This is the way that I hear it, but this is also a roundabout way in the key of, not F, G minor, in the key of F, saying 2, 7, 5, 4, 3, 1. So I think there's an argument to be made here that we are in the key of F major, just because the analysis looks a little bit more normative, but I still hear this A as something wanting to resolve to B flat. So that is how I hear it. Afterwards, we have a half cadence that sounds a little bit more proper in the key of B flat major. I think partially because the 5 chord has the 5th of the chord in the melody as well. We go immediately from F to D major, D, D, F sharp, and A, and we're not moving to G minor. We do later in the chorale, or at least I make the argument that we do, but this is 5 of 6. D major is the dominant of G, which is our 6, and that's where we go G, D, G, and B flat, G minor, our 6 chord. We then have E flat, G, and B flat, which is our 4 chord, E flat major, and then we have C, C, E flat, and C, A, E flat, and C, which is A diminished over C. That is 7, 6, 4 going to 7 is a good sign. It's a normative progression, cycle of falling fifths, and it's also a cadential progression, which typically results in us going to 1, B flat, D, and D. Another one of those interesting double root, double third voicings, which Bach uses with frequency. And then we have C, B flat, E, and C, an incomplete C7 chord here that Bach finishes with material going on in the counterpoint. It's not really less contrapuntal, because there's really only 2 rhythmic ideas going on. The outer voices are static, and the inner voices have this offset ascending thirds step downward stepwise motion thing going on. Or, oh no, you know what this is? Goodness, this is a double neighbor tone with a descending neighbor and an ascending neighbor going down here. A double neighbor tone, that's what it is. I knew it looked familiar, but yeah, it was like 2 neighbor tones that are separated by a third. Yes, but anyways, this is still 5, 7 of 5. B7, or sorry, C7 in root position. This A is a non-chord tone, this F is a non-chord tone, E and G are chord tones, B flat's a chord tone, G is a chord tone, and then A and F are non-chord tones before we cadence on F major, F, A, F, and C, which is our 5 chord. Again, I guess you could make an argument that this is a 4-5-1 progression in F major, in F major. I'm confusing myself here, but I don't think it's as strong of an argument as this cadence. This just purely sounds like B flat major to me. But looking ahead, I'm making the argument that here, because we have this melodic minor fragment in G minor here in the bass, that we do in fact move to G minor. We start things off again with another secondary dominant, D major, F sharp, D, A, and D, which in this case is in first inversion, but still a 5 chord of 6, 5, 6 of 6, and then we go to G minor, G, D, B flat, and E flat. Again, I did that same mistake. We would expect to go to E flat, or sorry, to G minor, but here we are going to E flat, which is our 4 chord in the key of B flat, but I think in the key of G minor it is our 6 chord. And depending on how you look at this progression, you could say that this is a direct modulation right to G minor. I feel like we don't really have any reason to think that we're in G minor until this point. This is another instance of the modulation zone, this idea where the modulation can occur really over any which one of these beats, because we have A, G minor, and B flat share pitch collection, so the majority of the chords are going to be diatonic to one another, and therefore they're going to be shared between the 2 keys. So deciding where the modulation occurs is pretty, it can be important, but it's largely nebulous, maybe even arbitrary. But here we have a 6th chord going to A, C, C, and E flat. Bach goes out of the way to not double the root in a diminished triad. In this case, A diminished is our 2 chord. 6 going to 2 is a good sign, but Bach turns this 2, which we would expect to go to 5, into an adjacent series of chords. We get B flat, F, and D, which is our 3 chord in root position, B flat major, E, B flat, G, and C. This is not functioning as 5 of 5 anymore. This is now harmonization of the melodic minor scale, which is 4, 6, 5. We get another dominant 7 chord, and we harmonize the melodic minor scale because of that E natural. We then get F sharp, A, and D, another D major chord over F sharp, which is 5, 6. And then this C is also a passing tone, but then we have G, B flat, D, and B flat. We finally get our tonic triad, and G minor, which has E flat in close proximity, just like how we got it here, but in this case it's functioning like a passing tone, and I think we're going right back to the key of B flat major here, and it is now becoming our 6th chord. But again, I mean, the modulation zone is fairly nebulous because any of these chords after the fact could be analyzed in the key of G minor as well. This is just how I feel like it is to me. This is how I'm hearing it, so it's largely up in the air. We then have D, B flat, F, and B flat, which is B flat major in first inversion, our tonic triad now. This C is an anticipation in the melody. E flat, B flat, G, and C is C minor 7 over E flat, another 2, 6, 5 chord. Bach loves 2, 6, 5 chords, especially in cadential situations. And then we have F, A, F, and C with this anticipation here in the melody. This is F major, which is our 5 chord. And then we cadence on B flat, D, F, and B flat, which is our tonic triad, marking the end of our chorale with a perfect authentic cadence. That's typically how they end. But that's today's analysis. Really, other than this modulation over the deceptive secondary progression, Bach has been using a ton of deceptive secondary progressions in these particular chorales. So maybe there was something going on in his life at this point where he was really like jibing with that particular sound, but it seems a little too concentrated in these couple of chorales to seem coincidental. That's just my take, but it could all just be coincidental, and that would be really fascinating as well. Regardless, if you're interested in following me along on this journey to analyze all of the chorale harmonizations, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to hit the notification icon so you can get notified of my daily upload. This is episode 218, and there are more than 420 Bach chorale harmonizations, so there are lots of videos to satisfy your daily dose of Bach and daily dose of analysis for months to come, and I'm really excited to analyze in the future as well. All of the chorales have been really fascinating in their own ways, and yeah, it's nice that especially after some of the longer chorales I've had proportionately to the journey thus far have been over the last couple of episodes, not today or yesterday's episode, but the episodes before that. It's nice to get a couple of short ones like this one, but I'm going to cap the video off on that note. Thank you so much for watching the video, and thank you so much for supporting the channel by doing so. I look forward to tomorrow's analysis, and I hope you take care.